Afternoon all, lovely day again in the viaduct, 3 days in a row, you wouldn't believe it, would you? Absolutely fantastic. Just a quick 360 here, have a little look around. Not too many punters again today, that's a big problem for us, not too many punters, but that's what the Labor government does to you. The dysfunctional Labor government and their COVID strategy. Anyway, let's focus on the issues at hand. I know you won't mind, I'm going to put the sunnies back on because the sun's that bright down here, it reflects off all the white, gets right in your eyes, so we'll put the sunnies on. What are we talking about today? I'll tell you what I was going to talk about today. I'm pretty disappointed, as you know, from yesterday about this weak Lillyword City Council here that stood down at 7,000 employees. I think that's a classic case of Gough waving the white flag, and it doesn't impress me because New Zealand, as you know, is a country built on enterprise and endeavour, bold people with a pioneering spirit. And I'm going right back to the Ngāpuhi. I'm talking about Dame Whina Cooper, the great All Blacks of our generation, the tough men, the Billy Bushes, those sort of people, Kent Lambert, who else? Keith Murdoch, proper men, real men. And then you've got your Kate Shepherds, the suffragette, fantastic New Zealanders. Car racing, you've got old Burt Munro. Modern, you've got Scott Dixon. Who else have we missed? What about the great league players of our generation? Olsen Filipino, and bless you, Olsen, if you happen to see this, I know you're in hospital and not enjoying the best of health at the moment. Mark Graham, those sort of people. Ruben Wiki, there's a classic New Zealander. Where have we gone wrong though? That's the question I'm asking myself today. We've morphed from being Edmund Hillary, here we go, Edmund Hillary. He's a great New Zealander, Edmund Hillary, wasn't he? Mount Everest, Tenzing Norgay, so much humility, so humble, but such a pioneering spirit. And never once did he acknowledge who got to the top of the mountain first, even though we know it was Sir Ed who did that. But that's a sign of a real man, a man who had fearless courage, a spine of steel. That's how you describe Edmund Hillary. Afraid of nothing and afraid of no one. But where did it all go wrong? That was my original question. Why are we now a nation, and in this case a city, of weak, compliant, woke people? Why are we allowing ourselves to be locked up, self-isolating, because a few people have a sniffle and a cold and nasopharyngeal infection? And look, please, let's take this opportunity now to remind you, I'm mad keen on the vaccination and I understand COVID to within an inch of my life. I get COVID. I know all about the virus, coronavirus. Nothing there to learn from my view. I'm absolutely, definitely not an anti-vaxxer. I have no appetite for anti-vaxxers. I think you're all mad if you don't take the vax, particularly if you're contemplating getting pregnant if you're a young female. Get that vaccine because you're going to have issues if you don't. But anyway, getting back to this Omicron. So we have zero cases today in ICU. That's zero. That's one less than one, and it's two less than two for those who can't do their math. That's you, Grant Robertson, can't do your math. Quantitative easing, Grant, that's what caused inflation. Just in case you appear to have conveniently forgotten what caused it. But let's go back to what I was saying. So New Zealand's a country of enterprise and endeavour, pioneering spirit, real men and real women who had no fear and were excited by the opportunity to do something that was bold, took courage, and helped to chart a way forward. So what I'm hearing today from a lot of people who are reaching out to me, and as you all know, yesterday's rant and the day before combined actually have had about 5,500 shares, which is quite significant, penetration of about 400,000 around the country, 250,000 what do you call those, activations and views. That's a lot of people, and we're getting feedback from the media, from the government, from the opposition. Everybody's giving us feedback. So all I'm saying to you now is we've hit a sweet spot here. If there's that much appetite, what I propose we do is why don't we show the government what the real New Zealanders think about what's going on, what the real New Zealanders think about us being locked up. My view, or self-isolating in the face of Omicron, my view is that we show some Kiwi courage. And on that basis, I'm proposing, based on what people are telling me, I'm just relaying the message of what people are telling me. I'm proposing that from this Friday, we'll give ourselves a few days to see what's ahead for us and what's likely to unfold. But from this Friday, we organise a campaign of civil disobedience. Now, I think the police are going to say, just go for it, because my feedback from the police, and I engage with the alcohol harm unit on an occasional basis, they're saying to me that they feel desperately disappointed about what's going on with the
Jacinda could have run the country if she wrote run on the paper. That's what Jacinda.
Here's some contribution from the sidelines here, boys, in case you're wondering.
Jacinda, we've lost faith in you, Jacinda.
Yeah, they've all lost faith in Jacinda. That's a fairly common theme here. You know, what I'm proposing is a campaign on civil disobedience. So we'll test the water this week. We'll get the feedback. You'll give me the feedback, of course, so that's what you do. That's why you read this and watch this. You give me the feedback. I'll come and see you in a sec, boys. Give me a minute to finish this. I'll come right over. Anyway, what I wanted to say to you is we need to have a campaign on civil disobedience, and I think we'll engage. Yeah, we'll aim to commence that about Friday this week. That's my view. Friday is a good day to start civil disobedience. We'll hopefully get some nice weather, and we can express ourselves by coming to the viaduct and just doing what we do best, just being Aucklanders, enjoying the environment, having no fear of Omicron. Look, we're all going to get it. It's not our fault the government hasn't ordered the appropriate amount of protease inhibitors, as in Paxlovid, blah, blah, blah. But you know how I feel. I'm not particularly a rebel, but I always do the right thing. That's the thing about me. I always do the right thing without fear. I wouldn't care too much if the police took an opposing view here and arrested me. That wouldn't be bad publicity for me, because I'd be doing the right thing like I always do. So that's the plan. That's the message of the day. Let's get our pioneering spirit back. Let's go back to what Kiwis were good at a couple of generations ago. Let's move on from this climate of fear, and let's agree that coming this week, over the next 5 days, we'll decide how we're going to develop this. But the ideal, in my view, is that we all agree to engage in a campaign of civil disobedience and tell the government that we've had enough of this. They've destroyed the city, they're destroying Auckland, ripping the beating heart out of Auckland, and it's high time we took Auckland back and took our lives back and the country back. We can lead from the front here, and the reason I say that is every other country in the world is doing exactly what I'm proposing. Last night, the EPL, that's English soccer, of course, English football, as they say over there, they would have had 80, 100,000 at 6 or 8, 10 different games. Dubai golf, packed. American football, packed. Everywhere in the world. If you listen to the Herald, listen to the media, they'll tell you there's bodies laying in the street. But no country in the world, no country, has had the health system collapse. And people who I respect enormously, like Des Gorman, fantastic guy, Des Gorman, absolutely worth listening to. David Skegg from Dunedin, another one. They're the ones you should be listening to. They're all saying the same thing I'm saying. This health system will not collapse. It's a myth, it's hysteria, and it's a climate of fear generated by people who don't understand what's unfolding before them. So let's agree. Let's agree now. I don't want to be rude, but let's agree that this week we're going to develop a strategy and a policy, an initiative based on your feedback about whether we're going to show civil disobedience from next Friday onwards. Over and out, team. Take care. Leo for Mayor.